Ever feel like you're living a lie? Like everything you've achieved, the career, the relationships, the stuff, is just a giant distraction from the fact that, well, one day it's all going to disappear? You're going to disappear? That's exactly where Leo Tolstoy, arguably the greatest writer ever, found himself. We're talking about the guy who wrote War and Peace, a book so epic, it makes Game of Thrones look like a sitcom. The dude had it all: fame, fortune, a sprawling estate, and a loving family. He was the Jay-Z of 19th century Russia, but at the age of 50, something terrifying happened. Tolstoy was hit by a wave of nihilistic dread so intense, it made him question everything. Why bother writing? Why love? Why even live, if it all ends in the grave? He had to trick himself out of ending his life. How does a man who seemingly has it all, a literary god, end up staring into the abyss? What caused this existential meltdown? And, most importantly, how did he find his way back from the brink? Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the mind of Leo Tolstoy and explore his harrowing journey from literary legend to something else entirely, something far more relatable than you might think. Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're diving into the mind of a literary titan, a man often considered the Cormac McCarthy of his time, Leo Tolstoy. You know, the guy who wrote War and Peace and Anna Karenina, books that are still celebrated today. But behind the fame, the wealth, and the loving family, Tolstoy was wrestling with some weighty questions. Questions we've all probably pondered at some point. Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? Why should I even care if it's all just going to end? Imagine having it all: the critical acclaim, the beautiful estate, a doting wife. Tolstoy had all of this. But around the age of 50, something shifted. Nihilistic thoughts hit him like a ton of bricks, and suddenly, all that happiness seemed to just vanish. What happened? How did this man, who seemingly had it all, fall into such a deep existential crisis? And more importantly, how did he get through it? Let's explore Tolstoy's struggle and see how he faced these profound questions head-on. The seeds of doubt. From a young age, Tolstoy was skeptical. He lost both of his parents early, leaving him feeling abandoned. And the church? It didn't offer him much comfort either. As Tolstoy himself said, religious doctrine, accepted on trust and supported by external pressure, gradually throws away under the influence of knowledge and experience of life, which conflicts with it. This early life, filled with tragedy and doubt, set the stage for his later struggles with faith and his journey of existential questioning. The existential abyss. For nearly 50 years, Tolstoy lived a life seemingly free of major worries. But then, an intellectual crisis, a deep, overwhelming existential crisis. Sleep became his only escape because the weight of his thoughts was so intense. In his essay A Confession, Tolstoy revealed that he even had to trick himself not to end his own life. Nihilism consumed him. He became like a toddler, constantly asking why? Why life? Why existence? Why death? He felt like something was fundamentally wrong with his soul. He mirrored this internal battle in his character Levon from Anna Karenina, who was caught in the same loop of why questions. These thoughts drove Tolstoy to contemplate suicide. But instead, he chose a different path. A journey in search of meaning, a search for ultimate peace. The search for meaning, a parable. One of the turning points in Tolstoy's journey was a parable. A man fleeing a wild beast jumps into a well to escape, only to find a dragon waiting at the bottom. He grabs onto a branch and notices drops of honey on the leaves. Despite the danger, he tastes the honey, momentarily distracted. Tolstoy saw this parable as a reflection of his own life. He was caught between the wild beast of existential dread and the dragon of death. But in the midst of this, he found moments of sweetness, moments that kept him searching, the paths explored and rejected. So, Tolstoy began his search. He explored philosophy, reading the works of Solomon, Socrates, and Buddha, but he didn't find complete answers. He felt that these teachings led to a dead end. Then, he turned to science but found little solace there either. He viewed Darwinism as embodying nihilism, suggesting humans are nothing but an accidental creation. Disillusioned, Tolstoy turned to observing the people around him. He saw 4 ways people dealt with the absurdity of life. Some people just ignore the big questions and live life. Tolstoy saw a commonality between Albert Camus' philosophy and his own. Others fill their lives with pleasure and indulgence to distract themselves. Suicide. Overwhelmed by the absurdity, some choose to end it all. Existential limbo. Recognizing the meaninglessness but lacking the strength to do anything about it. They exist in a state of passive resignation. Tolstoy didn't believe any of these paths offered lasting peace. The revelation, faith in the simple life. Tolstoy had a profound revelation after observing the poor. He was struck by how, despite immense hardship, they maintained unwavering faith in God. This faith gave them purpose and resilience. Tolstoy realized that life couldn't be understood through reason alone. It required belief in something greater. He began to see faith as the key to transcending the limitations of the world. Embracing this belief, Tolstoy overcame his despair and found contentment. He adopted a simpler way of living, focusing on the well-being of others. He dedicated himself to helping the poor and living a life of humility and service. The end of the journey. In the end, Tolstoy's life, once dominated by intellectual struggles, found its meaning in faith. It wasn't wealth or achievement, but trust in something greater. He began living a more modest life, giving away much of his wealth. Tolstoy spent his remaining years living honestly and devotedly, finally finding the peace he had been seeking. He passed away at the age of 82. So, what can we learn from Tolstoy's journey? Perhaps even the greatest minds struggle with the same questions we do, and that the answers, if there are any, might not be found in reason alone, but in something more. What do you think? Have you ever struggled with these kinds of questions? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations of life's big questions. Thanks for watching.